Hello there, welcome back. It's Vina, and today I was thinking that it's been way too long since I've done a painting video, more specifically a watercolour painting video. So that's what I want to do today. And since once I start painting, you won't be seeing me anymore, I thought I can paint a gratuitous self-portrait, so at least you'll see me on the page. So I'm going to be painting this lovely selfie that I took on the way to work the other day, just because I didn't want to do anything too complex and then be here for hours and hours, and I feel like I can achieve that in not too long. It won't be beautiful, it won't be perfect, but I think I can get it on a page, roughly. So I have already drawn it out on a piece of paper to save spending 100 years doing that on camera and it getting really boring. So how about we get straight to it. So here is my drawing. And this is on multi-purpose artist's paper, so it is thicker than printer paper, but not quite as thick as watercolour paper. So it may buckle a bit as I paint while it gets wet, but this is just for fun, so I don't mind. So I've got my drawing, and I have a glass of water, which of course we're going to need to do watercolour, and then my trusty paint palette. So this is a very old Winsor & Newton watercolour palette, and it opens up to reveal these mixing wells as well as all of the little paints. This one's empty by the look of it. God, it's so old that I can't even take these out. They're all quite stuck in there. Oh, not this one. That one's loose. Anyway, these will be my paints for today. So I think I'll probably use mainly this side. So let's try. Positioning everything. That should be fine. And then of course we need some brushes. So for this, I think I'm going to need a big brush for the background, maybe even one like this. And I think I'm going to paint that afterwards, so I'll keep that, I'll take this out. And then I'd like a sort of medium brush for the larger areas, maybe this one. And then a smaller detail brush. Let's go with this little one. So I'll come back to this if I need it. So, now we just gotta get started. I've got my picture up here. And I think I'd do best to start with skin tone. So I'm going to use my middle-sized brush. Oh, and of course, I have some tissues. The first of which I'm going to use to clear a space in my palette. I'm just going to dip it into the water and then wipe it clean. There we go. Seems that these two are permanent blemishes, so we should be able to mix something here. So I'm going to take a little bit of, you know what, I'm going to take some of this red that's already up here. I'm just going to use this one actually. Here's some red, and I'm going to add a tiny bit of yellow to it. Because for a white person like me, skin tone is just red, yellow and white. So I think I'm going to start with this, and I know that this looks very orange, but I'm going to dilute it quite heavily with the water. So I'm going to put that all over except for where there's a real like highlight shine on my face. And immediately that's quite bright, so I'm diluting it out a bit more. And you see how it really amounts to very little. Now there is that highlight on my cheek, so I'm trying to avoid that area. I think I can do it all over the tongue as well actually, because it's also a pinky red. And this side of the face is going to be in shadow later, but it's okay to have this as a sort of base. Now would you look at that, we're already getting somewhere. So I'm going to do the hair as well. So that's going to be more yellowish brown. I'm going to just do that here. So I've got a yellow and I'm mixing it with the like grey that's already there. And I think that kind of makes a nice colour for it. Yeah, that's good. My plan here really is to build up the layers gradually. So I'm starting out with the lightest part and I'm going to add on top of it to build up to the dark parts. So this shade is really only going to stay here and here, like where the highlights are. There's also like a little few stray hairs down here. I don't know whether to do. I think I will. I didn't really draw them in because they're very light. And this down here is all hair as well, but much darker in the shadows. And it blends away into that jacket. But I'll do it anyway. So I'm just going to fade that out using water. Like that. Okay, so now I'm going to get back to the skin. I'm going to do some of the darker. No, you know what? I'm going to do the shadow now because I think that will let me focus on everything else a bit better once I can see that more clearly. So to do the shadow, I'm basically just going to use grey, I think. So let's take some of this red and mix it into this existing grey. And I'm going to use that. So I want to be a bit more careful with this. Since it's darker, I'm going to start under my eyebrow. I drew out these shadow lines before I started because with this you kind of need to act fast, otherwise the paint will dry and then you'll get a line where there is some separation and so it doesn't look clean anymore, which I'm trying to avoid. You can see it getting lighter as I run out of pigment over to this end. Okay, well, we've already got something better going on here now, don't we? So I'm going to do the same thing but with a bit more red in it for this shadow here on this eye that goes sort of under my eyebrow and over my eyelid. And this is also sort of the colour of the shadow around my eye, so I'm going to put it there as well. Now, I see this same colour at the tip of my nose, so I'm going to put it there. And sort of making the shape of my nostrils. Where else can I see it? On my philtrum there. Oh, it's a bit too concentrated. There we go. Above my eyebrow, there's a sort of, the shadow takes a weird shape because of the like brow muscles. There's also this lovely dimple slash wrinkle that I've got going on down here. I'm using my finger just to blot away some of that moisture so I don't end up with a spot where it all pools and gets darker. So now I'd like to put it on my chin. This is one of the darker points of the shadows, so I imagine there'll be a lot of layers coming here. Not that it looks like much yet. And also underneath my mouth. And I have that same wrinkle slash crease on the other side. Oops, I made a mess up there. So I'm just going to use some water to diffuse it away. Now finally a little bit to make the shape of this eye socket. It's not very visible yet, is it? Let's see. Okay. I think I should do my eyebrows, so I'm going to go back to that colour that I used for the hair, which was some of this yellow. I'm going to mix it actually with a brown. And a little bit of black, just a tiny bit, like that. Now, I've already painted over some little highlights, so I'm trying to decide how I'm going to reintroduce those, whether I should use acrylic paint or just leave them or what. I'll think about that while I paint. Okay. I'm going to put that over here as well for this eyebrow. Oops, I did that a little bit wrong. So just get some water on your paintbrush, sweep it up, and then dab it away to fix that. Okay, so I'm starting to get some eyebrows now, which is nice. I'm going to use brown again, together with some black. A bit more black than that. Oh, that was too much, I think. There we go. To try and do these darker parts of my hair. Now this is where I need to not get rid of the really light parts, which are going to be sort of highlights. These parts are going to end up a lot darker later, so don't need to be too precious about it. Like I said, I'm just building up the colour for now. I feel like I need to do my lips because they're looking a bit empty there. So let's get some red. I'm going to go on the other side of this palette here now. And they're sort of pink, aren't they? So I'm going to just really dilute that red. And start with that. This is not really the right shade for the tongue, so I'm not going to go over that, really. It looks silly right now, but with the shading and the tongue, we should get better. So I'm going to use just water and a bit of my tissue to dab away at the areas where I want there to be highlights. You know, just that I think is enough. And let's make a lighter colour for the tongue. I think it's going to be more orangey like the skin tones. Let's use some of that. Yeah. I'm happy with that. Maybe a little lighter. There we go. And I think I'm going to switch to my... No. You know what? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm going to do the bits that are still blank before I switch to my detail brush. So, the headphones. These are like a navy blue. So I'm going to do that in this bottom one here. And I have a really dark navy blue paint. So I'm just going to use that, I think. It's very dark. So let's start on this side. I'm just doing the whole thing. Trying to at least semi-evenly distribute it. And then same on this side, except the sun is on this side, so there are some more highlighted parts. Now I need to fade it out a bit here. So I'm just going to get some water on my brush and dissolve it a bit. should have waited for that. Whoops. Okay, and this last circle is just a slightly different shade of blue because it's reflecting the sky a bit. So I'm going to use a little bit of this blue mixed with that. Okay, good start. Now the jacket down the bottom. So this is a silver zipper, so it's mostly white. But I'm just going to use a tiny bit of grey. And a tiny bit of blue as well, because it's reflecting the sky too. There we go, that's fine. And now I'm going to do the black jacket. Putting some of this dark blue in it because I feel as if it's also reflecting a bit of the sunlight. Not sunlight, sorry, the sky. Now, same thing over here. It's hard to see the boundary of where the jacket ends and my hair begins because it's all in the shadow. So I'm going to have to try and sort of fade it a bit. We're looking quite blue over here. So I'm going to try and just sort of fade that together with some blue. Maybe that's too blue. I don't know. I think as the jacket darkens, that will look less weird. Okay. I think we need to do some more skin shadows. So I'm going to use again this orangey shade that I had. I'm going to do another layer here for my cheek. Fade that out. And then there's this one, like there's the dark part. I feel like I've done the drawing wrong. I don't know. I'm gonna have to pay attention to it. Assume I did it right. So this part here is particularly dark, so I'll have to do another layer of it later. Essentially, I'm trying to cut out this cheekbone shine. And the nose tip shine, and this little shine there as well. There's a shine under my eyebrow. forehead right here. So I'm going to go back with my grey and this together. Some red. Ooh, too much red maybe. Some yellow. Leaving a little gap there because there's a little light part sort of where my chin is. I'm going to do the whole thing again. I went over my little highlight there. Whoops. Wasn't supposed to do that. So I want it to be a bit lighter on this side, so I'm just taking away some of that pigment. Okay, and the same goes for this part here. And I'm going to add a little more pink to it, just for that nose shadow, like before. Doing the tip of the tongue with this shade as well. So I want I'm going to go back to my hair. I'm going to switch though to the little brush and go back into that same shade. I'm going to make it a little bit grayer actually, add a bit more black. Because this is still looking much the same. This has got to be a lot darker here. trying to put in some hairs. I think next here I'm going to have to use like black rather than dark blonde. I'm going to add a couple of eyebrow hairs while I'm at it. Oh, that's maybe still too wet to do that actually. Okay, well let's do some nostrils then. I'm going to get some black and red. And fill those bad boys in. Okay, that's enough for the black, so let's do some red. Just sort of around the outside where the light is sort of going through my skin. Okay, now my nose is really dark and nowhere else is, so I should probably do something about that. Let's paint in some more shadows. Bring back this thing. That's maybe a little too dark. Oops, there we go. The shadow on my mouth is really dark. And the one on my chin. So there's a shadow of this eyelid. Well, the entire eye I haven't painted yet. I should maybe do that. This whole sort of area is darker actually, so I'll just do that. There. Let's go ahead and do this eye as well. So there's sort of like the shadows of some of the eyelashes there. And the eyelid creases. So I'm going to mix the red with the shadow shade again to do those. Because I've got super hooded eyes, I've got a bunch of eyelid creases. was supposed to fade into my eyebrow there. Oops. Okay. I also want to do the little shadow here of this crease. That sort of fades out at the top there. We lost this one too. Now I want to try and reintroduce this shadow that got a bit lost. That really fades out here. But there's this shadow here at the bottom as well. Like that. Okay, I think it's time to do the lips and then the jacket and the headphones again. So I'll start with the lips, get some red involved, and then mix it with a little bit of black. Oops, that was not a little bit. Let's try that out. A bit more red. That's better, isn't it? Something like that, eh? I think there needs to be just a little bit of undiluted pink. Not undiluted, but undulled pink there. Okay, we need to do the tongue again, so sort of the same thing, but a little bit more orange. And then there's a shadow, so I'm going to add some of that. I don't know if that's right actually, I don't know. Shadow goes here. And I think I need, yeah, a bit of the original colour, not the shadow, just because the tongue is a bit too light. I'm going to have to come back and darken that a bit later. But right now, let's get some black. I'm trying to find my eyes a bit more, especially on this side. It's hard because my eyelashes are in the sun, so they're bright. So I'm going to try and sort of do a shadow behind them. And I hope that that's good enough. And I also want to do the eyeball shadow that I accidentally covered up. Oops. Okay, I'm going to go back to my headphones for a bit, I think. No, you know what? I'm going to do the hair first, actually. I want an almost black brown. Oh, that was too brown. That's better for these really dark parts. There's another shadow. There we go. I feel that looks alright, doesn't it? It's starting to come together. Okay, jacket time, then headphones. No, let's do headphones first. Okay, I'm going back to my dark blue. I'm going to try and paint these shapes. This is going to hopefully, this part should all be dark, it'll fade into that. Oops. That's good in terms of the fade. I think I need to go back to my big brush for this. Now the other thing sorry, the same thing. on the other side. Suddenly much darker. Why has that happened? Okay, jacket. So, back to my black with a little bit of that blue. So, trying to create a bit of a shape here. And I'll do the lines over the top afterwards. But over here, it's pretty dark everywhere. I might have to wait for that to dry a bit more before I can do anything again there. So let's see, where is it not dark enough on my face yet? I think under my chin, so I'm going to go back to my face shadow. Shade. Okay, there's some like skin texture on my neck here that I haven't really done at all. I feel like I should. That's okay. So like that's enough. I'm going to darken the shadow above the jacket a little bit more. And this one a little bit. That's the wrong colour. Now, the chin again, I think. This line sort of extends a bit more like that, yeah. I haven't really managed to capture the shape of the nose at all, so let's try and do a bit more of that. I need a skin tone again because I've sort of painted over mine. So let's bring that back and put it here to make the shape of a nose. That's maybe a little bit much. Eyelid. Let's have some more cheekbone. Oops. Let's get rid of that. Okay, I'm going to do the lips again, and then I think I might be nearing the end. think I'm nearly done. I'm just going to do some more details on that jacket. So this has stripes on it. So I'm going to put those in. Try to get the sort of creases and stuff in there. And it's basically all dark actually, so I'm going to go for the bigger brush. Okay. Anything left? You know, the more I look, the more I keep finding things. And it's the perfectionist in me. Like, I know I should just stop now, but I can't. I find it too difficult. No, okay, I'm going to stop now. We're done. We're finished. Before I go too overboard. Because I could just keep making it darker and darker and richer forever. Until it's like maximum saturation. But I think that's not the point and the beauty of watercolour. Now the question is, do I leave the background white or do I do it blue like in the photo? I'll do it blue. So I'll use the little brush first and then also the big brush. Let's make a space for the blue. Here. And let's see which one to use. This one? That seems right, doesn't it? That's quite a sky blue. Alternatively, there's this. Maybe it's a bit of both. Let's get a good amount in here though. And start with that. So I'm going to have to dilute it a good bit first to do these gaps in my headphones. I don't want to have the moisture pooling, making it darker in one spot. Okay, now I'm gonna start, probably start on the left, shouldn't I, so that I don't get it on my hands. I'm gonna start just by going around. Around my painting. And now I'm going to go for the bigger brush. I'm going to work my way around the head in that way. very pale though, isn't it? Maybe I diluted it too much. I want it to be like the parts that are in there. And I've already used up all my colour. Okay. Oops, I already left it too late. Oops. See if I can fade that out a bit. Yes. We need more paint. Okay, well, I want it to be brighter. So let's give it a shot. I am painting my blanket a bit, but that's okay. I'm not particularly attached to it. There you go, this is the kind of blue I wanted. But I am starting to create the problem of too much moisture. Degrading the paper a bit. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it at that before I go too crazy and destroy the paper. So I'll put that away, and here we have my finished product. You know what? That's not bad, is it? There's me. Well, I'll show it to you properly. Here it is. Well, I had fun painting this. It's been a while since I've done a watercolour, so I had a good time. I hope that you enjoyed watching it as well, and I'll see you all next time. Hello again. I'm back to say a massive thank you to everybody who supports me over on Patreon, where every month you can get a bonus video. But really, I just want to say that I'm so grateful to every single one of you who is over there supporting me, because it makes a huge difference and it makes it possible for me to keep this channel going. So I really am very grateful. So thank you so much to everyone there. And of course, if you are on my mid-REM cycle tier, you do get an extra shout out at the end of these videos. So I want to say an extra special thank you to Alexander, Bastian, Belly Button, CK Blackwood, Kosikes, Grant, Hideto, Johnny B. Good, Luigi Rinaldi, Matthew J, Maxi Snacks, Michael, Nathaniel Romans, Skulls, Shane, Spencer, Thomas Jack, Tim R, and T Sharp 7. Thank you all so much for being there for me. I really appreciate it. I'm very grateful for every single one of you. So I hope that you all get the most wonderful night's sleep tonight. Okay, till next time.